Hello.
Hey, that's loud.
Okay, we're running through the conferences,
Hmm.
the divisions, and telling you how many games each team's going to win. And last week we did the AFC East and West.
East and West.
We'll do the AFC North and South
North.
this week.
That's right.
And then we're going to go and switch over to the other conference.
That's the NFC, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Who
good.
hasn't had a Super Bowl winner in at least 2 years?
2 years since the
Who
Rams.
who won it? The Rams won it before the Chiefs won their first.
No, so it went Chiefs, Rams, Chiefs, Chiefs.
Okay. Chiefs, Rams, Chiefs. Okay, let's get into it. We're gonna start with the Ravens.
Sorry.
So
Hmm.
the Ravens offense is one of the best in football, I would say. But
Mhm.
whether they do well or not is gonna be on the defensive side of the ball. And
Mhm.
a lot of people tell you the same thing. So they lost their defensive coordinator. He went to Seattle. I think he's the head coach of
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yep.
So he was old McDonald or something like that was his name. So he has a farm in Seattle now. No, that was terrible.
But he actually might have a. I mean, I'm sure they farm in Washington State.
Yeah, an apple farm
Would be
maybe.
an apple orchard. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that
Okay.
seems like a wise investment. Anyway, you're right. Back to football.
So I think he's probably regarded as one of the top five defensive minds in the game today, maybe, and he's young.
Mm.
So if you talk to anyone, they'll say, he left. Are they gonna like? How are they gonna manage that? Like, it's gonna be difficult to be as good as they were under him. Whatever. I think they might have even lost their offensive coordinator, but don't quote me on that one.
I don't know.
But I don't know. Harbaugh has been coaching for 74
He's like
years.
one of the best coaches in the league, right? Like, I mean, it's at this point, it's him and Tomlin and Reed and
Yeah, so
McVay, I guess, right? Those are the and Shanahan, the one without a ring.
yeah, so I think he'll figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing if you're like a second year head coach and you lose like a really good coordinator and like
Mhm.
maybe there's some fall off, but I don't even know who their new defensive coordinator is, but
Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni.
I was just reading something about how like at at odds he was with Hertz like the whole
Oh my God, I heard the same
most of
thing.
the season. Like
Like
I knew it was bad towards the end because they just started playing horrible and you could tell there was something was wrong. But apparently it was like a lot of the year it was, and I don't even know what did they say what
well, I
caused
caught a
it
clip
or
from Dan Patrick, and this must be Sirianni and his agent must be opening the door, but it was like that Hertz is going rogue a lot of the time. And then Patrick cited a quote from this article or whatever that said during a game in December, I don't remember which one, when they were down, the Eagles were down by 3. I think it was 20-17. And they had called, the coaching staff had called a safer play, something just to get the first down yardage so they could kick a field goal and tie. And independent of the coaching staff, uh, Hertz and Brown decided they were going to throw a bomb to try and win the game outright. And the pass was intercepted and they lost.
hmm.
And so that's what I heard. I didn't hear the general piece, but somebody's trying to save their job.
Yeah. So here's what they should do to make things more interesting. They should put so the quarterback has a speaker in his helmet, right? So you can hear the play. They should put speakers in all the players' helmets.
Yeah.
So that when Sirianni calls one thing and then Hertz tries to change it, then you really have the whole team thinking like, "Oh," and it would create a lot of extra friction, and that's what we need.
We should
We need
have
more
actually,
drama.
we should have the audio.
Oh yeah,
It should be broadcast out as part of the feed, like the game. That would be good.
That'd be tough not to get a delay, but I'm in.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah. Yeah, we'd have to find a way to isolate the other team from getting it, but I think that would be super fun.
Yeah.
All right, so the Ravens, the other bird team.
Yeah, so let's just run through this.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lamar Jackson's a stud.
Yes.
They have Derrick Henry now, and Keaton Mitchell emerged as their best running back last year. So Keaton Mitchell, it's kind of like you got the speed with him, and then you got the power with Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Like that two-headed monster. If those two stay healthy, I mean, they're going to be nasty. They lost Odell Beckham Jr., but he's kind of getting old anyway. So receivers. Obviously, Zay Flowers had a really good year. He's expected to be their number one. And then Aguilar and Bateman have been around for a few years. Well, Aguilar, 10th year. That's a lot. I didn't think it was that much, but
fairly young receiving core.
And then they have, I don't know, like I need to like learn these rookie receivers. It seems like every team pulled in a few rookies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, aside from the top few, I don't really know much about them, but Zay Flowers, well, Russell Gage is a veteran, so Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar, Gage, and then I don't know. I'm assuming they drafted at least one of those rookies, Wade or Walker. Just not quite sure on that. What were we gonna say?
I don't know, nothing good. I just think that they're going to be good again. They're probably going to win the division. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. They're a proven team. I think the bigger question for them is, can they do anything in the playoffs, which is something they have not been able to answer.
Right. So yeah, last year they hosted the Chiefs, and obviously we saw what happened there. They just kind of like the Chiefs just stifled, like they couldn't figure it out. The Chiefs pretty much controlled the game. It stayed fairly close, but I don't know what it ended up. I think the Chiefs won by 7, but they were, like I said, in control the whole game.
The other scored 10 points. Yeah, I think it was 17 to 10.
Okay. So Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are, I mean, I don't know that another team has 2 tight ends as good as those two. So they got plenty of weapons. Again, the big thing is going to be they're probably going to struggle maybe a little bit on defense, at least to start. But if they can figure that part out, like I don't know how they don't compete for a 1 seed again.
Yeah, so they drafted Devontae Walker in the first round, was the wideout they drafted. And then they got a running back in the 5th round, Rasheen Ali. And then they have an important 6th-round quarterback.
Yeah. So they got those guys too. Look out. I think we'll get to this in a little bit, obviously, but I think the Steelers are going to be a little bit better than some people think they'll be. I think the Browns and Bengals are going to be tough. I think this is going to be a tough division. So I am high on the Ravens. I just think the division games will be tough. Yeah. And since they were the 1 seed last year, I mean they're non-division games, if you will. I think their schedule should be tough because they were one of the better teams. So let's go.
The best team in the NFL last year by record in the regular season, 13-4.
11-6.
Yeah, I like them at 12-5. I just a little bit off. I think they're going to be a great regular season team. That game against the Chiefs was just so bizarre to me. The fact that they only scored 10 points. I don't understand it. That playoff performance. Harbaugh used to be on Reed's staff in Philadelphia. He was the special teams coordinator. So maybe there's some of that mentor-mentee stuff there, but that blew my mind. I thought they were going to win that game.
Yeah, that stuff is kind of fascinating to me. Like a lot of these coaches coach together. So like understanding the balance of trying to do something different that the coach doesn't think you'll do, or kind of just sticking to what you do best. Obviously, you got to find the balance to be successful against coaches that know you so well.
It's just strange. It was just, yeah.
I'm not intelligent enough to really break down that stuff, but it is definitely interesting.
Not intelligent at all. 12-5. Put it down.
All right.
12-5.
We've been pretty close on most of these teams. I'm waiting for the team where I go 12-5 and you go, nope, 5-12. Those will be the ones that will finish 8-9 or 9-8. Okay, let's be done with those Ravens.
Ravens.
And we'll go to the Bengals.
All right, so let me preface by saying I was completely wrong last week. Burrow's wrist is, like, I guess, fine.
Yeah, I looked it
Totally
up too,
fine.
and
It's fine.
I didn't
Supposedly.
see any big news
No.
on it. He said, I
Ready
saw
to go.
something that said, yeah, something said that he will play in
Yeah.
the preseason at least a little bit. And then I think they interviewed him, and he said, ideal situation is go in for one drive, score a touchdown, stay healthy, and get out. So that's that. Here we go. We got JoJo Burrow. I think he's probably going to have the starting job over Browning, even though Browning almost got them into the playoffs. I think they played the Chiefs the last week of the season and needed to win and have something else happen or something like that. Or no, maybe they fell off. Chiefs. The second to last week, maybe they lost.
They didn't. Yeah, something happened.
But well, look at this. We got the records. So they finished 9-8, and the Steelers finished 10-7.
It's so weird to me that they finished 10-7.
And I don't know if the Steelers had the tiebreaker, if it would have come down to that or not. But they were right there. I mean, they had a winning record. It just took one more win to get into the playoffs. So if Burrow stays healthy, I think we all know what we're getting with him. Like, he can absolutely make a run and win a Super Bowl. I think he will at some point. Mixon is gone, so I think it's going to be a combination of Zach Moss and Chase Brown probably. They do also have a couple of rookie running backs, and you never know when one of those guys are going to emerge. And I don't pretend to know a lot about Elijah Collins or Noah Kane, but they have legs and can run fast. I know that much. And then at receiver, they got rid of Tyler Boyd. I think he went to Jaguars or something like that. But obviously, Jamar Chase is a stud. I think they franchise tagged T. Higgins. So Chase and Higgins, and then you got Trent Irwin, who will get, he plays some snaps, and I guess their number 3. I'm not really sure who it'll be. Andre Iosivas, maybe. So like Chase, Higgins. I think Mixon was definitely, he seemed to stay healthier than most running backs. So whether Chase Brown and the fellas can, be as productive as Mixon was, I guess that's probably a question mark. But as we all know, if Burrow stays healthy, like, I don't see how the Bengals aren't a playoff team. So that'll be the big question mark, as you could say with almost every team.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow's the only quarterback to beat Mahomes since Mahomes ascended, right? Like, Tom Brady, right, in the Super Bowl, but Burrow, Burrow's, he's it.
I think he's the one active quarterback, where if it's Bengals Chiefs, like, you can expect Burrow to be just as clutch as Mahomes. And I don't think you could say that for any other active quarterback.
No, you haven't seen it. Like, you haven't seen it on the field. You haven't. Mahomes lost to Brady twice, and then he lost to Burrow. Brady's not here anymore.
Maybe you would say that about Rodgers if he had played more recently and you knew he still had it. But
yeah, that's a fair question. If he still has it, I guess you would say that he would be another one. Have they ever played Mahomes?
I think the Chiefs. We have to look this up. Yeah, I think the Chiefs beat the Packers at Lambeau 3 years ago, but that's, go look that up. I'm like 47% sure of that. So,
yeah.
What else do we have to say about these?
The record, I guess.
Bengal Tigers.
Good team.
Probably. Right. Prediction time. Yeah. So I said, 11-6 on the Ravens.
They were 9-8 without Burrow last year.
All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Burrow stays healthy and is just nasty, and the Bengals are 12-5.
Winning the division, you think?
Yes.
Okay, over the Ravens. All right, I'm gonna go. I think I'll go 11-6. So I'm gonna do the reverse. I don't think they're gonna beat the Ravens.
The flippy floppy.
I'm gonna go with flippy floppy. I just think the Ravens are a more complete team with a more complete coach. Also think there's going to be some injury stuff here. That's me just pulling shit out of my ass.
I like it.
Yeah.
Pull it out, throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Well, if it's poop, it's pliable.
Oof. By the way, this episode brought to you by Monster Rehab. Not really, but
Although if you want to sponsor us, please feel free. Feel free.
okay, you got it. We think the Ravens are going to be pretty good. We think the Bengals are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And we think there's two other teams in the division that
There are two other divisions. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's do it. The Cleveland Steamers.
Oh boy.
No, the Cleveland. They're still the Browns. They haven't changed the name.
No.
Okay. Difference. So this locker room could get interesting if the Browns aren't winning games, because you've had no shortage of drama in the last few years from Deshaun Watson. Now they have Jameis Winston as their backup. You got
Mari Cooper, huh?
Jerry Jeudy, who was kind of like a sort of a bad locker room guy, or like wasn't realizing his potential. So you got that. Elijah Moore, there was some sort of like he was in some rhubarb with the Jets at some point. Like I don't know what he did. He like refused to play, or like he was pissed off at one of the other teammates or something like that. So there's some interesting personalities, we'll call it, on the Browns. But I guess talent-wise, like you can't argue. Chubb is a stud. He's coming off I think he tore up his knee last year, but Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman, Nyheim Hines. I mean, they got really good running backs and depth, obviously, there. And then you got Amari Cooper.
A good season.
And then after Amari Cooper, I mean, I don't know. Like, I suppose I could just look up their depth chart, but like, is Jerry Jeudy or Elijah Moore
how many wide
number two
do they have on there's 10 wide receivers right now? I mean,
so these rosters obviously are listing everyone. I mean, some of those guys are special teamers or won't make the team or something, I would assume. But
Jamari Thrash, I wonder if that old Eagles receiver, James
Thrash, that's a cool name.
Was it? Else? I wonder if that's his son.
But here's the thing. There's no Joe Flacco to bail you out this year. I think he's on the Colts this year.
He's in the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised that he's still playing, but it's not like he was never a threat to like run anyway. So I guess as long as his arm still works and his brain still works, he could probably play for a while.
He was terrific last year for Cleveland, except in the playoffs. Then he was not so great. But
Joe Flacco age.
Yeah, he's got to be close to 30.
51.
That's how he runs. He runs like a 51-year-old.
He's only 39. What's Rodgers?
He's be 41, I think. Will be 41.
Yeah, Rodgers is only 40.
Only. Be 41 in December.
All right. We're not talking about never mind. He's in the AFC. I was going to say we're not talking about the NFC, but we're not talking about the gosh darn Jets.
We talked about him last week.
So the Browns, talent-wise, I think they're fine. Their defense is always solid. Just think they need guys with character. Instead, they got too many characters. So the Browns, I think, are going to have a tough season. Last year, Watson kept saying he was hurt, but he was cleared to play, but he wasn't playing. He's getting paid all this money, and it was kind of like one of these weird things, like what's actually happening. I think you're going to see some internal drama.
Yeah.
You could I think Stefanski's a good coach, but I think he's expected to win playoff games. And if they're a team that starts out 3-7, I don't know, he might get the axe.
I feel like this is a team that's going to underperform based on last year. This feels like a cultural nightmare, and that this is like just internal strife is going to tear the team apart. And I think the quarterback question, I think they really probably regret all the money they gave to Deshaun Watson. and I think that's going to be the albatross around this team, that just that position isn't going to get right this year, and they're going to fail because of it. And then they'll be competitive because the defense will be good. But overall, I think they're not going to make the playoffs.
I'm with you. I'm going to go 8-9 on the Cleveland Steamer Browns.
I'm going to go worse. I'm going to switch rather. I'm going to go 6-11.
6-11. I like it.
The wheels are totally going to come off. They're going to see some real morale issues, and they're just going to fall apart.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of it depends on whether they start out hot or not. So, like you'll get the team that was supposed to be decent that starts out 0-3, and then you start seeing the graphics. No team starting out 0-3 has made the playoffs in the last 12 years or whatever it is.
Forever. Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah, that's that really throughout.
So I don't know. Things could snowball one way or another. I'm going 8-9. Josh has 6-11. Let's go on. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone is the Steamers. All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 2 new quarterbacks. I am pretty sure Russell Wilson's the starter and Justin Fields is the backup, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah. And I think you might, who knows what they're going to do with it, but I think you might see Justin Fields in some packages. Like, he's too athletic to not utilize, although Tomlin seems like more of a conservative coach too. Like he maybe he won't want to do such things. So that'll be something to watch. And obviously, I think Russell Wilson's going to have a good year, but it's not like he's had a lot of success the last few years. So if he's not playing well, I think Fields is going to be in pretty quick.
I think a lot of people are speculating that that's what's going to happen, that at some point Wilson is going to lose this job. He's injured now too, isn't he?
Wilson? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he was, but I thought that about Joe Burrow too. But I do think a lot of people think Fields will end the season as their starting quarterback. I don't. Their defense is going to be good. Tomlin is an amazing coach. He hasn't had a losing season in like 15 years. But I just don't think they've got the quarterback question answered, which he hasn't had since Roethlisberger was gone. I'm not sure he can answer the quarterback question. I don't know. I don't see 10-7 in their future. That's for sure.
So they still have Najee Harris. They drafted, I think it's pronounced Dajon Edwards from Georgia. I think he was one of the backs in the draft. Najee Harris, he's only 26, but the way he runs, it seems like he gets banged up a little bit. Yeah. They still have Jalen Warren. So, Edwards, Harris, and Warren, that is like, go find me another team that has 3 running backs as good as that. Maybe the Ravens with Mitchell, Henry, and Justice Hill. But and then so Deontay, who was the Deontay they had? They had a receiver, Deontay something.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like, he could be one of the best receivers in the league, but he drops too many balls or whatever. Anyway, I don't think he's on the squad. You got, is Pickens still there? Yeah, George Pickens. They got Quez Watkins from the Ravens or Seahawks, I forget, but Watkins is probably a number 3, and then you've got, I think Calvin Austin is probably their number 2. Freiermuth was a really good tight end, I think. Was he a rookie last year? Or no, he's a 4th year guy apparently. But plenty of talent. Again, as we always say, their success is going to be like, how good is the quarterback position? Obviously, Tomlin's a good coach. Their defense, again, like with Watt and now I'm forgetting the other edge rusher, but they have 2 really good edge rushers. Do they stay healthy? Do they get good quarterback play? I think the rest of the pieces are in place. I think most people are going to tell you the Steelers will finish last in the division, but I think there's definitely going to be either, I don't know. I think it's going to be the Browns, but I think the Steelers are going to compete and probably finish third in the division. And I think they might make a run at the playoffs. I don't know if they'll quite make it. Obviously, from year to year, like last year, you needed to be 10-7 in the AFC. The NFC, I think, was 9-8.
Yeah.
So a lot depends on how it shakes out. I think the Steelers. I got the Steelers going 10-7.
Oh, 9-8.
And I am probably one of the few who think that. But
no, I think 9-8. I don't think they're gonna have a losing season. I also don't think they're gonna make the playoffs.
All right. Yeah, tough division.
Tough division. It'll be weird for this division to get 3 teams into the playoffs 2 years in a row. I feel like
that's true. I mean, someone's going to regress. I think. Well, and think about that. Like the team that didn't make it was the Bengals,
right? At 9-8, yeah.
Burrow got hurt. Obviously, that makes sense.
It was a really good division. What? So the Ravens are 13-4. The Browns were 11-6. The Steelers are 10-7. The Bengals are 9-8. Look at that progression. That's crazy. Is it the best division in football last year?
It had to be it. You almost never see all 4 teams have a winning record.
No, that's true. All 4 teams had a winning record, and the one in the losing spot didn't have their star quarterback. Jeez. Is it even possible? Could they have had all 4 wild card spots? I guess they could have had they won one more game.
Yeah, they could have won the division and got all 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, there's no rule against that.
Well, that's a neat scenario.
I think, well, I don't know. I don't think they'll ever do this, but I think it'd be interesting if they did away with divisions.
Oh, sure, just per record.
Had like rotate, like you don't have to play, obviously, those teams twice, and you get to play more other teams. Like, I think it would be interesting. I don't know that it would be necessarily good for the game or anything like that, but I think it'd be interesting to do that. Because, I mean, if your division's terrible, like you're gonna get a playoff spot. If your division's really good, it like your strength of schedule changes so much based on how the teams in your division are. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if teams didn't play any team more than once and played a lot more teams. Like you could play half the league if you didn't have to play your division twice. I think it'd be interesting.
Right. Yeah.
And then we'd know more about like the Dolphins, they didn't beat anyone good. They, were just beating up on bad teams. And some of these teams, you'd see more teams get exposed a little bit more, I think, playing more teams. But that's a story for another day.
Indeed.
Okay, we got our predictions. The conference is a wrap. I have every team except one finishing with a winning record. That's a lot of wins in that division. 41 and 27. I have that division going. That's going to be tough to do, but it is what it is. I can't go back.
Year, though, I think we're close to that number.
Right.
So I mean, if there's not that much of a fall off or drop off, then you're right there. I just think the Browns are going to implode. That's a feeling.
Yeah, I'm with you. We are together on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. The last division in the AFC is the South one, and there's 4 teams in that division as well. The first one we're going to look at is the Houston Texans. Houston Texans. They have CJ Stroud, who is an absolute stud, and I don't see like a sophomore slump out of him. Like he just was too good to have such things happen.
He just took the stage and never gave it back. But Stephon Diggs this is where Stephon Diggs wanted to.
Yeah. The Texans skill players are nasty. Like
Joe Mixon.
Cumulative. Yeah. They are very good. So they got Mixon from the Bengals. He's getting up there in age for a running back. I mean, he's 28, but like I said, he's been
quite 30.
I feel like he's been fairly durable the last few years. So they have Mixon. Dameon Pierce was supposed to be a number 1 and just kind of like didn't play that well last year. But Dameon Pierce and they have Cam Akers too, who's kind of been injured a lot. So Mixon, Akers, Pierce at the running back position, and then their receivers are very good. Nico Collins was a stud last year. He ended up being their number one.
Mm-hmm.
Tank Dell was really good, and then he got hurt. He is a slot guy who's 5'10", probably a buck, well, 165, but he just absolutely flies.
Yep.
And then obviously they pulled in Diggs.
Yep.
Those top three, I mean, that, like, how do you cover all three of those?
Yeah, that's as good a receiving core as you can get, pretty much.
The only thing they don't have, I mean, they don't have a lot of size. None of those guys are very tall. I don't know if that really matters a lot, but
Nico Collins is big.
Is he
6'4"?
6'4". He's a 6'4" sophomore.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would have said he is 6'1".
Yeah, maybe does he play like 6'1"?
No.
I don't know what that means.
He was a
People
beast
say that.
last
Yeah,
year.
they were good. They were good. I mean, they surprised everybody and made the Panthers look like dummies.
And they got, I mean, Dalton Schultz and Brevin Jordan both were solid last year at the tight end position. And Robert Woods, Grandpa Robert Woods, is on the squad. I mean, he's a like if Robert Woods is your number 4 receiver, like,
yeah, you're doing okay.
Yeah. So offensively, a ton of talent.
Yeah.
They obviously went out and got some guys, and then you have D'Amico Ryans as the head coach. I think he is definitely one of the top defensive minds right now as well. And even maybe like after what he did last year, like probably considered maybe a top 5 head coach, top 5 to 10. I mean, for sure.
Top 10, I think there's no question about it. It was his rookie season, so you want to see some more before he maybe slips into the top 5. But he won a playoff game. He went into Cleveland and beat them.
Beat the Steamers?
No, did they? No, maybe Cleveland went to them because they were division winners. But anyway, they still won a playoff game. That's something that's hard to do in the NFL, especially if you had a rookie quarterback and rookie head coach. But they beat the shit out of them.
They sure did.
So I mean, I like this team.
I think they put up 40 for sure. They might have put up 50 points against the Browns.
It was close. I mean, they mollywopped them. It was a beatdown.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about like Burrow being that clutch guy who can take down Mahomes. I think Stroud's young, but he seems to have that clutch gene, if you will, which is crazy to me because it didn't like. I don't pay a ton of attention to college football, but I just didn't think he was going to be as good as he is.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, he didn't even go 1 overall, so a lot of people didn't think that. All right, Texans. I mean, I'm obviously high on the Texans. 12-5. I'm going.
Oh, dude, that's where I was going to go.
You need to go first, then I'll go second.
Especially early in their schedule, I like a lot. I mean, they face off against the Colts in week 1. That's awesome. They're gonna beat the Bears in week 2. I think they'll probably beat the Vikings in week 3. I think they'll beat the Jaguars in week 4.
So we're in the Chicagoland area, sort of.
Yeah.
Like what? People said the Bears' first 6 games are easy. I didn't like that.
I look at that and I think they're probably be 3-3 at best.
But like the Bears play the Texans.
Yes, they do in week 2.
That's a loss.
But I think they open with the Panthers, maybe. So they play the Panthers. They play the Vikings. No, they don't play the Vikings. Their entire division, all their division matchups are, I think, in the back half of the season. But they play they think they play the Patriots in the early season. They play the Panthers in the early season.
I love it. People just get over you look at who you're going to play and you just think that team's going to be as good as they were last year, and like some of these teams are completely overhauled, whether it's a brand new coach or like all these free agents and people they drafted and all, like there's so much uncertainty. Like after week 1, there's at least a handful of teams where you're like, whoa, what happened there?
They do end the season though. Well, the last 3 of their last 4 games are against the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. They play the Ravens on Christmas.
Whoa. So they'll be sitting at 8-7, 8-6 for those last three, and they'll be saying we need to win 2 out of these last three against good teams, and then what's going to happen?
Uh,
You think they're a playoff team?
oh,
I mean, we're getting
Texans? Yeah.
no
the Bears?
Yeah.
Fuck no. Oh my God, no.
Oh, you were saying those were the Texans.
Yeah, those are the Texans. Sorry. No, the Bears. No, the Bears actually the back half of their schedule is pretty decent, pretty hardy.
The best content for a podcast is when the two people
not on the same
they
page.
think they're talking about one thing and they're talking about two different things.
Totally different.
That's good stuff.
I mean, at least we're still talking about football.
Yeah.
So we're in the same stadium. I mean, I like the Texans though. I mean, I don't care that they'll probably beat the Dolphins. I don't know. They'll beat the Chiefs from the Ravens. We went same. I think 12-5. I like this team. I do. And their division, I think, is pretty crap.
All right. We got 3 other teams to talk about.
Yes.
And the first one is the Colts. So
there he is, Flacco.
Flacco on the Colts. So Richardson got hurt. Like, I don't think he played a game after maybe week 3 or 4. He was playing decent. He was scoring a lot of rushing touchdowns, and then obviously he got hurt. So the big question there is, can he stay healthy, maybe not run as much? And then if he does stay healthy, like, are his quarterback skill, like his throwing skills, I guess, obviously, what he can do on the ground, but like, can he be an elite quarterback by standing in the pocket and being a good pocket passer? The jury's obviously out because we've only seen a few games, but if he can do that, I mean, the Colts are, have a chance to make the playoffs.
They were competitive last year. I mean, they were in it right into the last game, and they needed to win that last game to get in, and they didn't. But so it was a pretty amazing rookie campaign for the head coach because he was new, and losing their quarterback early in the season and then salvaging it and being competitive and having a winning record was, I think, pretty impressive. You got a lot out of Gardner Minshew, not enough because you didn't win enough games to make the playoffs, but you weren't a losing team. If Richardson is good, this is, I think, it's going to be very competitive between the Colts and the Texans, and it should be exciting to watch for a few years. If Richardson's not so good, this team, I don't know that they're going to go anywhere because I don't see another quarterback on this roster who's going to I don't know that Joe Flacco has enough magic to do it twice in a row.
Yeah, there was a reason why no one wanted him before last year.
There was, but then he was great. And I'm honestly surprised he didn't get more interest and that he didn't stay with the Browns, but maybe they didn't want a controversy.
Right. And after the playoff game, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. He did really sort of hit the bed.
So Jonathan Taylor is a stud. The receivers, I don't know, like below average, I would say. Pittman, Downs, Pierce.
Stand out.
Did they draft? Oh, they drafted Adonai Mitchell from Texas.
Yeah.
Like, he's expected to be a pretty, like a stud. So I don't know, skill wise on the offense, below average.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying. Steichen had a pretty good year. I think last year was his first year as a head coach, right? Because after the Eagles made the Super Bowl, Steichen and Gannon both left. Those were their coordinators.
Yep.
I think Steichen's a good coach, so we'll see what happens. I am going to go a little bit low. Don't you know? 7-10.
7-10?
Yeah, I don't think Richardson is gonna have the magic.
The question.
Even if he stays healthy, I think he might struggle. 10-7?
I think 10-7, yeah.
There you have it. I think that's the biggest difference we've had.
Yeah.
7-10, 10-7. Colts, done. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jaguars, we've talked about this several times. They were, I don't know what they were. They were like 8-4 and ended up 9-8 or something like that
and
last
missing the
year.
playoffs.
Yeah, like
In the last week, they were division leaders into the last week, and then they think they lost that game.
yeah, so that was weird. Lawrence looked really good the first half, and then they did have some injuries. I know he got banged up. Christian Kirk missed like a month. So you got Lawrence is the quarterback. They signed Mac Jones, which is sort of interesting. I mean, I guess there's way worse backups than Mac Jones. Like if you need a guy to come in for a couple games and win one of them.
They were in the same draft year. That's so weird. I wonder how often that happens.
Lawrence went 1 and Jones was like
15, I think. Something like that.
They have ETN was very solid last year. As a running back.
Yeah.
Receivers, you have they signed Gabe Davis from the Bills. He's, I mean, like talent wise, he's like borderline number 1, I would say.
Yeah.
So you have Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, and then I think
Joshua Cephas is the one they drafted. Looks like
Brian Thomas Jr. I think is listed as their number 3 on their depth chart. So he's must have been drafted fairly high. So
ton of wideouts on their
I don't know
roster right now.
Gabe Davis, Kirk, and Brian Thomas. Like,
well, they let their number 1 go from who was their number 1 last year? He was a Calvin Ridley. Yeah, they let him go.
So I don't know. Like, their coach is an offensive-minded guy
with the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. I don't know. Like, that talent is that above average talent? I'd say definitely not. The Jaguars have a lot to prove, obviously, this year. Like, if they're not good, like, does Lawrence get another starting job? Does Peterson get fired? And does anyone want him?
No.
This is a huge year for them. So are they gonna come through, or are they gonna break? Break?
I mean, they don't get rid of Lawrence, but certainly Peterson goes away. If Lawrence doesn't work out here, he absolutely gets another job somewhere, or at least an attempt at it. Peterson is done after this if we can't make this work. 7-10, I think 7-10. I just feel like
see that, folks. He got his prediction in first.
Yeah, 7-10.
7-10, 7-10. I can't decide if I think they're gonna rebound or not, or if they're just gonna fall apart. Like, I don't think there was really turmoil, like internal turmoil or anything, but like, I don't know. They just
didn't work.
They don't have enough Jims and Joes. Like, I think I'm with you. I might go. All right, 7-10.
Oh wow. Okay, here we are.
I should say 8-9, but we'll go 7-10. I'm not. I really like. They could easily go 10-7, and I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't really know.
I don't know. Something about it I just don't like. They're not going to be awful, but.
All right, we got one team left, and it's the Tennessee Tarantulas.
I mean, Titans. Coach in his prime.
Oh yeah, if Vrabel's gone, and he is
not anywhere. He didn't get a job.
He's not even in. I thought he was an assistant, or someone was thinking about.
I don't think
speculation. No,
maybe he's consulting somewhere, but he's not. He's not a coach.
Let's look it up. Coaching and personnel consultant for the Browns.
Yeah, coaching.
I got to change my Browns prediction.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so if they're shit by week 5, do they
Brown shit?
Yeah. Do they fire Stefanski and say, "Hey, Mike Vrabel," which is weird because he could. It's weird to me he didn't get a coaching job, so the fact that he ended on the Browns makes me like he could very realistically end up helming them. He must have picked that. He must like that. I mean, their defense is stellar, so maybe that's what he's keyed in on. Yeah, he's a great coach. They were dumb to get rid of him.
Who is their coach?
He was the offensive coordinator from the Bucs, I think. I don't know.
It wasn't Leftwich, though, was it?
No.
Rightwich. While he's looking that up, so Tom Brady said something about like he saw something in Will Levis that I don't know. He had some very positive quote about Will Levis, so that's a huge thing for the Titans. Like Levis played decent last year, but can he take the next step? What do you got?
No, he's Callahan. He's the was the Bengals OC. This man.
Ah, Ryan Callahan is
Yeah.
the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just feel like he's gonna. Yeah, this team is gonna suck.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see who they got for the Jims and Joe. So Levis, whether he like I was saying, whether he plays, whether he keeps improving or not, is a huge question mark. Obviously, the quarterback position is so important. So we'll see what happens there. Tony Pollard had a ridiculous year a couple of years ago, like
last year,
and then last year, he had that injury, and last year he just like
never got it done.
Yeah, like didn't. I think a lot of fantasy owners were not very happy because he was a high draft pick and didn't really do much. So we'll see if he has a good year after a dismal one last year. They have Tyler Boyd, they signed from the Bengals. He's more of like a number 3 receiver. Traylon Burks in his third year is shows some flashes, but like hasn't really broken onto the scene.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins is 32. He seems like he's been in the league for like 25 years, but he's obviously a very good receiver. So the receiving core is maybe average.
This is where Calvin Ridley ended up.
Oh, Ridley's there too. Okay, that gives them a bump, provided he's still, like I don't know, like he wasn't as good last year as.
I mean, they let him go.
Right. And he had, he took the year off because he was gambling or whatever it was. So we'll see. I mean, talent-wise, at the skill positions, I mean, above average, I would say. And then can Levis play as well as he needs to play? I don't know. I'm not. You go first.
I don't. I think this feels like a bottom feeder to me. New coach, questions at quarterback, questions at skill positions. I like them to go 5-12.
5-12. I don't know. Like Levis could be really good, and he might be not very good at all. Like it's just so hard to say. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 7-10 on them as well. So I got 3 teams going 7-10 in that division. Let's see, 21-33. So I have that division going 33-35 overall. That's it. There you have it. So we got through we're all the way through the AFC.
Yeah.
Let's go back and just real quick. I don't know. We can give you kind of our top couple prediction, like which ones we really feel strongly about. So I do think the Bengals win the division. I feel pretty strongly about them. I said they were going to go 12-5. I feel pretty strongly the Steelers will not finish last, even though that's where they're projected to go. I have them 10-7, and then so those two I feel fairly strongly about. And then in the AFC South, I don't know. It's kind of a mess. Like that division is probably bad. Like I think the Texans win it, no doubt. I have them at 12-5. I feel pretty confident that they're going to be good. Like I don't know in what scenario. Like they just have all the pieces. It seems like
they do. And I think that the Colts, I think, also really can be great if the quarterback is great. And you can say that about any team, but I think it's just you just don't know with Richardson. He had limited exposure to him. He showed some flashes. And so if he's everything you want him to be, that's going to be a competitive team too. I mean, those are certainly, I think, the 2 best teams in the division right now. I like the Texans, I like the Ravens, and I like the Bengals. I think those are going to be like playoff locks. Maybe locks to win a game.
Yeah, I mean,
playoffs. I mean, I really like those teams.
I like overall, I think you're gonna get a like the top seven, which will make the playoffs. Like you're looking at Texans, Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs. Again, I think the Chargers are gonna have a good year. Chiefs, Chargers, so that's five, and then Jets. And I said the Bills were gonna miss the playoffs, but Jets and I mean maybe the Bills or maybe like the you're gonna see one team like can one of these teams that we said we're going to be middling, like which one of those is going to make the playoffs? So there, there's quite a few of those.
I mean, so who are your locks from the AFC to make the playoffs?
Locks. Ooh,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Tough. I mean, obviously the Chiefs,
the Ravens,
Chiefs and Bengals, Chiefs, Bengals, Texans, Ravens.
That's four.
Jets.
Okay, so that's five.
Sure.
They need two more.
I'm gonna go. Like I'm not gonna say a lock, but I think the Chargers will end up making it.
Okay.
And if I had to pick, what?
Herbert's hurt.
Like how hurt?
It's a plantar fasciitis, or not fasciitis, but it's the plantar fascia. Is that the thing? It's injured. He's in a boot right now. So they say he'll come back during the preseason, but he is injured at the moment.
Yeah. So with any of these, like if your quarterback gets hurt, obviously that changes everything. So, and then my last one, I don't know. This is people are going to think I'm an idiot, but I'm going to go Steelers. I think the Steelers will grab the last.
This history is on your side. I mean, they were shitty in the middle of last season, and they did not look like a playoff team. And then there they were with no quarterback. Like they just had flipping games.
The thing we should do is look more at all these schedules because a couple of these teams that we have at like 8-9 or 9-8 or whatever probably have really easy schedule or are going to end up having pretty easy schedules. So that's going to play a big part in it as well. Okay, any parting words for the AFC?
No. Their Super Bowl dominance over the last 4 years is enough. They don't need any parting words from me.
All right, there you have it. We'll do the NFC East and West next week, and then we'll do the North and South the week after that. And then we'll have like 1 week before games start, I think.
Right? Yeah, close enough. Yeah.
What's the first game? There's a Thursday game, I think.
Oh, what's the
first game of the season? The Cleveland Steamers. Lions, Giants?
No, that's still preseason.
Oh. The suspense.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it is. Ravens, Chiefs.
Really?
Ravens,
on a Thursday?
Chiefs. On a Thursday.
So last year it
5th.
was Lions at the Chiefs last year. And you remember the Lions won.
Yeah,
Chris Jones didn't play. He was like in the stands.
He was holding out. Yeah.
So are they doing a thing where like the Super Bowl winner hosts the first game of the season on the first Thursday, or is that just like
that's
random chance? That's a thing.
I don't know if it's a thing, but it's Thursday. The 5th is a Thursday, and the Chiefs are playing the Ravens.
Well, that's interesting. After the Ravens obviously underachieved in that game against the Chiefs, so
sure did.
Now they get a chance to prove it right away.
Can't wait.
One of those teams is going to be 0-1. Woo! And we have them going. What did I say? 11-6, and the Chiefs probably 12-5 or something. Or I might even have said 13-4, but we'll see.
We sure will.
I have nothing more to say today.
Me neither.
Go Vikings!
Go Bears.